I have the pleasure to conduct with my dear colleagues, Professor Tami Katzir and Dr. Shelley Shaul. And it's lying on the idea that we know from the reading and from the reading comprehension model that those are processes that include multidimensional components and build on foundational skills in language, cognition, and emotion. At the same time, we know that there is a call to translate research into tools and texts and programs that educators can really take and provide to the kids in the classroom. We see the gap between those two. On one hand, we have those very nice complex models. On the other hand, we have a very simple instruction. And today's talk will present the theoretical foundation of the OR program, which is light in Hebrew, the pedagogical development of the OR program, and we give you a little bit of sample about our pilot finding from the first year of this study. So, from the intervention studies, we know that we can find studies that we look on interventions, that we look on one approach in development, and we look on narrow skill, and on the other hand, we may find an approach that will take multiple components, but from one domain. Our idea is to build on different domains of knowledge beyond the scope of specific skill or specific area. And this is the creation and the integration of the ORT program, which look on multiple domains in order to address diverse learners in the classroom. So we are looking on the literacy, we're looking on cognition, and we're looking on social emotional readiness. All those three areas which we know that are crucial for the development of reading and of reading comprehension. The principle of the interventions are much wider than those 6 components, but for the sake of this presentation, we try to minimize them. The program is at the beginning, we are doing assessment in order to see the profile of the students in terms of literacy, language skill, cognition, social emotional readiness for learning. The program provides tailor-made intervention program based on the profile that we find at our screening. The one that delivers the program is the homeroom teacher within the classroom, and she's doing the main and the center activities, and then the class is divided to small groups that are led by our team, and they are practicing and integrating what the teacher is presenting at the beginning of each lesson. As I said, we have a baseline rich assessment, so we know a lot about the students, and each small group is getting practice according to their needs. The lesson plan that the teacher is getting are scripted based on best practices and integrated all the aspects that are part of the cognitive literacy and the social emotional within every lesson plan. And we integrate technology and high level of engagement activities to each one of the lessons. The program is right now provided to grade 1 and grade 2, and the measures that we are providing at the pre and also of course at the pros, looking on the 3 domains that we are integrating: the literacy skills, word reading, reading fluency, spelling, reading comprehension. We are looking on cognition, memory, visual perception, executive functioning, and speed of processing, and the social emotional aspects, looking on academic perception, empathy, and friendships. So we will take a small look into one of the units that we are dealing, and this unit is providing to grade 2 students, and each unit is based on a story, and we we are picking this story according to specific criteria, and basically we would like to see that the story will provide our student with also social emotional difficulty or problem that is being solved during the story. So the story is actually our context, and we are doing the literacy, cognition, social emotional activities around the story. So if we are looking on the story of a pink triangle, this is a story about a triangle that was born to a family of a square and a round mom, and everyone is very disappointed because he's born to a world that are all squares and round, and he's going to a kindergarten and everyone are squares or round, and he's very different. And at the end, there is another square that is coming, and he's become very, very happy. And this story brings us the opportunity to work on vocabulary, but not just academic vocabulary, but also social, emotional vocabulary. We are working on oral language. This story is presented to the students first time as an electronic book. This is a media that that many of the children those days are exposed to. We are working according to the text of this book on fluency. The students are practicing reading theater. We are working on reading comprehension and reading comprehension strategies, spelling of our target words, which are part emotional words and part are higher order words, and we are doing lots of writing activities. In terms of metacognition, in this unit we are talking about reading comprehension, so the students are exposed in grade 2 to reading comprehension before, during, and after reading. They are practicing memory and memory skills, how to memorize spelling, how to memorize my role, for example, at the reading theater, how to monitor my task, and inhibition activities. In terms of the social emotional, they're practicing empathy, support of others. This is the problem that our triangle had in the story. Positive feedback, how we give positive feedback to each other, flexibility, listening to others, because all of our activities are play-based and there's a lot of engagement and motivation. So all of the activities are enriched activities that provide deep learning. So I'll give you just a small component of one target term that we looking and doing through the story of the pink triangle, which is happiness. So the children are exposed to happiness in the story, and then we are talking about the range of happiness and understanding what is a range and what we have on one side and what we have on the other side, and when we are happy and when we are not happy. They learn how to write the word happiness. In Hebrew it's not easy, and they're writing by breaking to phonemes, and they're also writing with plaster. And we're doing also integrating memory game into this concept of happiness. So on those cards they need to recognize that the two guys are happy and the one behind the planet is afraid, and each time they need to practice on top of the memory game the emotions. They have small dictionaries and they are writing what is happiness and what is happiness according to the definition that I understand. The bottom example demonstrates a comics that we gave them because we were practicing and we were introducing this genre of comics, and they needed to write inside what do they inside the bubble the feeling of the small square of the small squares. So it was a very open task, and they used the happiness as one of the words and the sentences. And the final project for the happiness theme was the plate of happiness, where in the small group, each one was talking what makes him happy, what is happiness for him. Students were aware that each one is different. Each one, we need to know what the other one, when the other one is feeling happy and when I feel happy, and they make a slice of happiness that created the plate of happiness of the classroom. I would like to show you also a small example to get you into our pilot study, which was conducted last year with the first grader at the Yeda school, which is our the school that we are doing our intervention. There were 47 first grader students from between the age of 6 to 7 from 2 classrooms, and the Yeda school, which is the place that we are implemented our intervention program, is a place where it's a very new school that started with the idea of keep schools from the States and target mostly low SES students. The control group is another two classes, first graders from the area of our school, but it's not as low SES as the target school. At the beginning of grade 1, we were assessing on both schools the cognitive, literacy, and social-emotional measures, and you can see that there were significant differences, and this is really an example, between the 2 schools. Yeda is the green. You see less green at the time. Yeda is the green, the control is the red, and we see significant differences in memory, in the visual perception, in our measure of the head and toes, knees and shoulders, which look on self-regulation. By the end of the year, when we were assessing the word reading fluency according to the Tawari, we see that they are closing the gap. We definitely see that the Yeda students start very, very low as opposed to the control group, and by the end of the year, they are closing the gaps in terms of their ability to read in a fluent way words in Hebrew. What is interesting to see as well is the improvement and the differences scores between the beginning and at the end of the year, and it's not actually a year, it's really 3 months of intervention that we are doing, and we can see it's very, very nice when we analyze the theory according to the number of words that the student read. So if we have 0 to 8 words, or 9 to 20, or 20 to 42, and this is, by mistake, the Yeda are the red ones here. So the Yeda schools are improved, and we saw that they're closing the gap, but what's nice to see that they improved in 2 to 42 words and in 9 to 2 words categories as opposed to the control group. We also are using qualitative measures, and we are interviewing our students and asking them at the end of the program, what do you feel you improved? What do you think are what do you think you are now good at? And we just gave a sample. One student says, my self-confidence, I feel more confidence now than when I was in kindergarten. Another child said that I improved in my reading. Another one saying in my writing and painting. And to summarize, we developed an innovative interdisciplinary curriculum for first and second grade that we really try to take the models of reading and reading comprehension, the different domains, and try to integrate them into instruction for the students and translate the studies into our schools and into best instruction. We saw that the children, compared to the typical norms of development, exhibit accelerated growth rate in literacy, specifically in the word reading. And by the end of the program, the children were proud of their reading and were highly motivated to read. And this year, we are comparing the grade 2 students to a component, to a single component program of the Reading Acceleration Program, the RAP of Professor Breznitz. And it will be interesting to see how a multiple component program as the OR it will improve the skills as opposed to one component, and in which component we are going to see enhancement in grade 2. I would like to thank our OR program team, the students and the teacher and the principals, the Faculty of Education, Haifa Leo Beck, which is the school, the Bialik Municipality, the Ministry of Education, and the Edmond J. Safra Center for helping us in this project. Thank you.